This episode is brought to you by Blue Door Financial. Blue Door Financial will help you save money and reduce taxes to live a fuller financial life. To learn more, visit Blue Door Financial online at BLUdoorfinancial.com. That's BLUdoorfinancial.com. Hi, I'm Bill Corcoran Jr., and I'm your host for the On the Stacks podcast. Today, I'm chatting with Jenn Rushton, owner of The Dress Lounge. What's up, podcast episode 92 of the On the Stacks podcast in the Blue Door studio. Thanks for joining me today, Jenn.
Thanks. Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great.
This is awesome. We have another special guest with us hanging out in the studio today. Her name is Vanna. Tell us about her.
So that's Miss Vanna White. She is our shop mascot. She's 2 years old, golden retriever, one of the lights of my life.
She is very calm.
She is.
She's the best little dog ever.
Well, amongst her siblings, she's a little bit of a jerk, but she's the baby. She's 2, where I have 2 other Goldens, which is Vincent 9 and Ruby, who's 8. And then, of course, our little cat, Piper Jane. So I have a little farm at home.
How do they get along?
Flawlessly. They're great.
Do they?
She's the baby, Vanna White. So, she has little sister syndrome, but she's amazing. She comes to the shop with me every day, though. Yeah.
She's very well behaved. She's laying down like a good dog. So this is cool. This is fun. It's exciting. We'll talk about your story and your experiences and, what led you to the Dress Lounge. And, but let's kind of take it back a little. Let's tell me a little bit about yourself and kind of how you got to where you are.
Okay. So, born and raised Nanticoke, Pennsylvania. Went to high school there, left, moved out to Pittsburgh, went to college, travel and tourism, hospitality management. Came back and I worked in quite a few different venues around here. I started at Jennetti's in Wilkes-barre, just doing some event planning and sales for them. In the interim, I opened up a small clothing store called Panache. It was on Market Street in Kingston. We used to host Saturday socials, so like all my friends would come and hang out. We'd be on the porch. Sold trendy women's clothing. Also brought in men's. I met amazing clients. Some people that still come into my shop to this day tell me about like, hey, I still have this jacket from Panache, or hey, I still have these shoes from Panache. I love that store. But I closed it because I was doing event planning. I was a hostess for Kazimi's restaurant, which is no longer. Cal Kazimi is one of my mentors. So when I was working at Jennetti's Hotel, he was the general manager. And he decided that he was going to open his own restaurant, which was Kazimi's. So he asked me to come and work for him as his hostess. So I went to Kazimi's, worked as his hostess, and then I did that part-time as I then opened Panache. So we both opened businesses at the same time. So I ran my shop during the day, worked for Cal in the evenings and weekends, and he started to teach me more of the business of hospitality. So planning parties, showers, engagement parties, seating people at tables, made really amazing connections, just talked with a lot of people, and he taught me the ins and outs of the restaurant industry. So then I started to migrate more into event planning, and I got a little bored at the shop. So I ended up closing the store and started to move more into my event planning arena. And I then went and worked at Nichols Village. So then I learned the hotel side of things up in Clark Summit.
So let me just ask this. I want to, sorry to interrupt, but so what made you, thinking back to like when you went to college, is there a reason that you went out to Pittsburgh specifically? And did you know that this is what you wanted to do?
So I didn't. I thought I wanted to be a flight attendant.
Really?
I thought I wanted to be on the news.
Okay.
I'm a people person, so I just thought that kind of was what I wanted to do. But when I got to school, I didn't really love the idea of the flight attendant per se. So I had some friends that were going to this charter school at the time and older than me, graduated from my high school. So I ended up piggybacking, carpooling with them, ended up going to this school, which then turned into Pittsburgh Technical Institute. And Yeah, so it just migrated into planning parties. So I have all the hospitality ends, but I really thought I was going to be a flight attendant.
Interesting. Or on the news.
Or on the news.
What, like a news anchor?
Yeah, I did like a small little stint when I was a child on KidCast, which they had on one of the local news stations, and I loved it. I thought it was great. I did all these video takes, and it was super fun, and I thought that's what I was going to do, but nope. Here I am. I sell dresses.
Interesting fact about Jenn. I didn't know that.
Yep.
Yeah, interesting. All right, so go back to it. So then you started doing event planning, and what happened?
So I left Nichols Village. I met some amazing people there. From Nichols Village, I went to a venue called Bentley's, which is no longer open. Cal Kazemi, who I worked with at Kazemi's, went in to help revitalize Bentley's. So they needed to bring it right side up. They were having some struggles there. So Cal called me and asked me if I'd be interested in coming and helping out, working sales and doing their event planning and design. And I said, sure. So he at this time, he had sold Kazemi's restaurant. So he took the entire Kazemi's team and implemented us into this Bentley's property to do all the wedding special events. Then there was a restaurant inside of there. So we all went, and it was great. And then Cal got sick. So his last wishes were that we would help see this project out. So unfortunately, Cal passed. He was an amazing mentor to me and to everybody that worked there. So we stayed there as long as we could, but then, without Cal's wisdom and direction, the new management that came in kind of didn't see his same vision, which was the vision that we all shared. So at that point in time, I left and I went to the Westmoreland Club. I was asked to come and interview there, and the Westmoreland Club was kind of like my finishing school of my career. It led me to do the events and plan the details and do upscale things that I couldn't do at other spaces. They do more crazy design of parties.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. So tell me, like what was it that you want to do? Like, what were some of those events? Like, what did you do?
So I have like a little bit of a creative mind, a little OCD on planning. Like every detail I'm meticulous with. Timing is everything, but everything is in the details. So Robert Williams, who was my general manager at the time, who also I consider as a mentor, he just let me kind of do my thing. Of course, with direction and. And, he didn't just let me like run rampant, but we both shared the same kind of ideals. A lot of times he thought I was crazy, but he let me do it and he trusted me to do it. So we threw, they host a black tie ball every year, and we named the ball, it's the Gemstone Ball. But at the time it was there was other events, the Platinum Ball, and they all have different types of names. But I told him that I wanted to make these model tables, and he looked at me like I was crazy. And I'm like, I want to put a woman in the middle of an hors d'oeuvre table, and she is the centerpiece, not a vase of flowers.
Like a real woman?
Like a real person.
A real person.
And he's like, who's going to do this? And I'm like, my friends. He's like, okay, so you're going to bring your friends in and we're going to put her in the middle of a table. And I was like, yes. So we designed.
Did you already have this like lined up? Like
no, I was flying by the seat of my pants.
And so like after that conversation, you were going to text your friends and be like, yo, you got to do this now.
I walked out of the office. I committed
to this.
Yeah, I walked out of the office and I was like, oh shit, like I got to figure this out. So I created the tablecloth was actually the dress of the girl. So if you could imagine a round table, and underneath that table was a platform. So they stood on this platform that made them elevated when they were inside the table. So we cut the circle out in the middle of the table, which they jumped into. Then I wrapped the tablecloth around them as a skirt. So it had a Velcro around the skirt, and the cloth flowed all the way to the floor. So it looked like she was standing with a bell hoop skirt on. And the top half of her was designed in a crazy top, and she had crazy hair and makeup, and she posed as the centerpiece. And around her was all the different hors d'oeuvres. So she was a display piece in the middle of the hors d'oeuvre table. So a very conversation piece when you came into the room. There were two of those.
This is like some Gatsby stuff.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
So when I presented this to him, he was like,
you're nuts.
Yeah, you're crazy, and I don't think this is a good idea, but I'm going to let you run with it. So he let me do it. We also did, for that same party, we did a red carpet runway. So when the guests pull up to the front of the club, the valet service would greet them, and it was a red carpet that they walked on. But when you got to the top of the steps, you realize that it's now that red carpet turns into a red dress, which was on a model that was standing at the top of the staircase. And the guests had to walk past her. So that red carpet was actually her gown.
That's crazy. So where did you come up? Like, where did you get the inspiration for this stuff?
Just in my brain. Nowhere special. The creativity lent itself in that venue because they do things that are a little bit more avant-garde.
Gatsby-esque.
Yes. And
That's a word.
They want to put on a really beautiful show for their members, and everything is always about different and changing it and making it to the next level. It's a platinum club of the world, so they want to showcase really amazing things. And Robert trusted me to do that. Of course, we planned these things together. It wasn't just all mine, but yeah. So
how did that work out with the girls and the tables? Like,
it was amazing.
It went off and without a hitch and
flawlessly. Yep.
What did people think about it? What did people say? What did guests say?
Crazy. Even Robert said to me the next day, and he was like, "It worked, and it was great. Like, it was just fun." Mm-hmm.
That sounds cool.
So I couldn't really do that kind of thing in other spaces locally, just because the other spaces that I worked in were more, traditional in style. Yes, yes. So Westmoreland Club was finishing school to me. I met amazing contacts. I really still keep in touch with a lot of people. I see some of those people as clients in my store now. And once I left the club, they asked me to join as a member. So I went from working there to becoming a member, and I just really love the space. So I could say that Westmoreland Club was finishing school for me, and it's because it taught me the level that I needed. It brought me to the next level, if you will.
Yeah. So what did you do next?
So I got tired of working crazy hours, holidays, 80-hour work weeks.
Yeah. How do you do that?
Yeah. So while I was there, I was married. I created a production company with my now ex-husband, and that business took off running. It started as a baby little shop. We had little rental units, if you will, like little what do they call them? Like storage units. When we left Bentley's ended up liquidating their place. They closed. So there were a lot of items in there that we used a lot for events that they didn't even know they had in there. So lightings and special features, furniture. So we ended up buying that, creating this production company, and these items were stored in little storage units. So then we would rent them out to clients, people that were having weddings. They wanted to put a lounge in. They wanted to do uplighting in their ballroom. So one storage unit went to 2 storage units, went to 4 storage units, went to a warehouse.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and that production company hosted, everything, linens, bands, DJs, centerpieces, you name it, we had it. So anything that you would want to do for a wedding, we had it. So when I was leaving the Westmoreland Club, I unfortunately got divorced. I had to switch gears completely. I left the club because I just couldn't handle the workload anymore. I loved my job. I didn't want to leave my job, but I needed quality of life just because I started to become consumed by my job. So I needed to spend a little more time with me. Of course, going through divorce is hard. Like, things are hard. I had shifted into working for a medical company, just to kind of get a 9-to-5 schedule, balance out what I was doing and what steps I were going to take next. And during that process is when kind of everything unfolded. Financially, I had to learn to stand up alone without depending on others. Divorce taught me that I can overcome anything that life throws at me. I moved into a small little apartment that I took my animals with me. So at that time I had 3 dogs and 2 cats in a small little apartment.
How small?
It was a half a double with no yard. Remember, I have golden retrievers. So
they were running around the house.
And I have golden retrievers who need a yard and they need a place to stretch their legs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was hard. Financially, it was hard. Lots of legal fees. Life was hard.
How did you get through it?
There were days that I spent in July at 90 degrees where I'd lay in my bed feeling sorry for myself. But then I realized this ain't going to fix my problems and I need to get my life together. I was still wedding planning and keeping that commitment to the business that my ex-husband and I shared, all while going through divorce myself. I never let any of my brides that I was booked with falter or even know that I had any of this going on. Because I loved what I did. I love making people happy. I love planning weddings. I love designing things. So it's almost like my brides kept me alive. I picked up spin class spin class made me a different human being. At 5:30 in the morning, I cried through spin class. I lost weight during spin class. So yeah, I learned to take up that hobby just to kind of keep my mind busy. Sometimes the bad things that happen in our lives put us directly on the path to the best things that will ever happen to us. And I totally believe that, because now I am out of any kind of financial burden from what that divorce did to me. I had since bought a bridal salon, bridal prom boutique, and we just celebrated our 5-year anniversary.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I survived a pandemic during all of this,
that's a lot.
Yeah, having a heart attack, because now I am a business owner, and if I don't work, I don't eat, and I don't feed animals. And we just closed on the building. So yeah, life is good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good for you. Okay. So let's just go back a little bit, and then we'll come back to your 5-year anniversary. Now you bought the real estate where it is, which is super exciting.
Yeah.
So take me back. So at what point and how did the dress lounge come about in your life?
I was working for the medical company 9 to 5, just doing the routine thing. I was still freelance wedding planning. I was just taking kind of like personal clients that wanted to still work with me. I had relationships with them from, previous entities that I worked in. I was doing that. And then a friend of mine who owned the dress lounge, her name was Natalie. She reached out to me and said, "Hey, I'm looking to sell the business. Are you interested?" And I was, but I didn't think I was ready.
Why?
Just financially. I was coming through a lot, and I wasn't on the right side of the tracks, if you will. So I entertained the idea. We went to dinner, we talked about it, and I said, well, let me think about it. She chased me. She came after me and was like, "I don't really want to sell this to anybody else. You used to own a clothing store. You have the right mindset. You have, you know the people, you know the industry." I'm like, I've never sold a bridal gown in my life. Like, I know nothing about dresses. I know fun clothes to go out in on a Saturday night when you're like 18 to 25. I don't know, bridal gowns. That's one of the biggest things you'll buy in your life as a woman. She's like, "I'll teach you." So I contemplated. She called me again. We had another meeting, and I said, well, let me just come into the shop and let me hang out. Let me work. Let me be in there, feel the vibes, so I can see if this is something that I want to do. She was like, "Let's do it." She was planning on moving, so she wasn't staying around. So I went and worked for a month, maybe 2. Worked busy days. Saturdays are busy, but I wanted to see how does a bridal appointment go? What
do I actually do?
Right. That's different from coming in and buying a pair of jeans to go out on a Friday night in. So she was amazing. She taught me, just how to be myself and just to work with people. It's no different than me sitting down with you and helping you plan your wedding. It's just me finding the right dress for you that hits you in all the right spots. Measurements, those are a different animal. You definitely know how to measure a woman's body. I remember I was terrified over that. Even to this day, sometimes if a measurement is not 100% right and you're in between sizes, I'll call one of the other girls and I'm like, "Hey, double check me." Just because dresses fit differently. So you're looking at a bride and you're like, okay, this dress is going to be great, but we need to fit it in all these right spots. So measurements were challenged. Prom season, totally different animal. That is like going to the deli counter and pulling a ticket and waiting in line for a fitting room on top of brides, on top of moms just walking into shop. And that's usually January to April.
So you did that for a couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
And how did you, is it what you expected it
and
to be?
More.
And
yeah.
more.
I love it.
Was it stressful?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because the day that, we finally turned over where it was me and she was out, I was like, oh my God.
So how did this transition go?
Okay. So I went to my bank and I was like, what can you do for me? How do I do this? I have no idea how to buy a business. I had no idea what I was asking for, loans, this, that, and the other thing. Is
that the first place you went was the bank?
No, the first place I went was my parents. Cause they're my end all be all. Those people have dealt with me over the years. God bless them. But my parents, Randy and Sherry, are amazing.
What'd they tell you?
Do it. because my parents have owned a business. So I grew up being in a home that is self-employed.
Small business.
Small business. Yep. And they had their struggles, so I think that made me nervous too, because, we owned a paint business. So having a small paint business with contractors and, wallpaper and carpet and tile and all those fun things. And then Lowe's and Home Depot open. So,
you saw the struggles and the ups and downs.
Yeah. And it's the thing, so I grew up, but they were amazing at their jobs, and they worked as a team. And I thought, if I could build the right team, I could do this. And I've had such amazing success with people that I've worked with in the past, because I brought previous staff to my other jobs. Previous staff came and worked for me at my production company. Previous staff came and worked at other venues with me. So they've traveled with me. So I feel like I have that ability to build a team.
I'm thinking to myself here, I wanted to ask you that, besides going to the bank and doing all that formality stuff, how did you build that team?
One of my really amazing friends, Kasha, who worked with me at the Westmoreland Club, she worked in bridal previously. In her former life, her and I became such good friends at the club. And I said, so I'm going to buy a bridal salon and I want you to come work for me. She's like, all right. And she did. And she taught me a lot, things that I didn't know. God, I need to give you an example, but, she just had a way about herself with clients and customers that if, say, there's a 5 alarm, you come in and your dress doesn't fit. She just right. She just has a way of calming people down and finding that solution without being oh my God, your dress doesn't fit, and making them even more upset. So yeah, we measure the dress, see if the designer made it wrong in size. We measure the client, see if anything has changed on their body. There's many, many components, but she taught me how to have a level head and how to find the best easy balance between customer and business. And you kind of learn the people then, right? So you build a relationship with them. I mean, you're with these people for a year, and then they become future friends. So they come in for special events. They are bridesmaids in other weddings. So Kasha taught me a lot in how to handle customers. Natalie taught me a lot about the business itself. And then I started to bring in staff. So Cassie, that works with me now, she was from the former regime. She has been with me since I bought the business, and she wanted to stay on. And she went from a gal that was just running dresses back from the fitting room and putting them on the rack, that she's one of my best bridal sales girls. So she stayed with me. And from there, I cherry picked other people when they came into shop, like Morgan, who is amazing. I love her. She and Haley love her too. They both were shopping for semi-dresses. And I just happened to say to them, they just were great. They were helping other friends in the store. They were shopping for themselves. And I was like, you girls want jobs? And they're like, yeah, we want jobs. And Morgan has been with me ever since.
Were they in high school?
Yeah.
And you just said, hey, you want to come work for me? And they're like, yeah, let's do it.
So I'm selective on who I choose to work for me, but I never really had to put an ad out. I just kind of have been.
These people came to you.
Yeah. Well, kind of. Yeah. But I've been extremely fortunate, and my team is amazing. I would not be where I am today without those girls that work inside of that building. Donna, she's the soul sister that I never had. Her and I share the craziest things. We both have dogs that are named Ruby. We both have, past things that are kind of symbolic to one another. She thinks the same thing I'm thinking, and before we say it, she travels with me to bridal shows. She is she was definitely meant to be put in my life.
She's your right-hand woman.
She is. She's my best friend. She's family, but she takes good care of me. She gives me really good sound advice. She's a mom, but she's not that mom that's crazy mom. She's that real calming, soothing, here's life, and control what you control, and don't sweat the small stuff, figure it out as you go. And she gives me really amazing advice. So I'm surrounded by really amazing people at my store. And I think that's what makes it so successful, because those amazing women put it out to the amazing customers that I come in. And then those customers turn into family, and then they come back. I have people that come in looking for Vanna White because they see her on social media, and they're like, where's the dog, before we even talk about anything. So I've just been really blessed. I came through a lot of hard things, but I feel God's testing me for whatever reason, but he put me through those things because he knew I could handle it. And I'm not super religious, but for a while there, I was really questioning life, and like, I'm happy. I have an amazing home that I had to buy on my own and furnish it. I mean, I lived in an apartment in my house for like 6 months without a dining room. Like, the room was empty. It had dog beds on it. Like, they laid in there. But I have a beautiful home. I have, which I've slowly been doing different things to. My dogs are amazing and healthy. My cat. I have an amazing team, and life's good right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. I love to hear that.
Yeah. My clients are amazing. Like, I have so many people that I've met, and like so many stories that they have told me just by interacting. Like, these women are in their bra and panties in a fitting room with me. Like, we are one-on-one. You are
close.
Yes. But you have to make them comfortable. Like, nobody's trying to like show you their imperfections. And you know, when you find them that amazing dress and they put it on, and then their reaction is like, I love this, and it fits in all the right spots, and I feel good. I feel beautiful. Like, I'm ready to wear this for my significant other. Like, that is the best feeling in the world. And then they come back, and then I see them again, and they're like I just saw a gal that was my bride. She's now pregnant. She's expecting. And like, I saw her at a wedding, and I couldn't wait to chat with her. And then she told me she was having a baby. Like, we just, you know, you make these amazing relationships, and like, Dress Lounge, I feel, is so much on customer service. Like, even if you don't buy a dress from me, I appreciate you coming into my store. Like, you came in, you shopped, you got to see what we're about. And if you didn't find something now, but maybe you'll find something when you come back again. Like, we don't have everything for everybody, right? It's just kind of how it is. But when they do find a dress, like, it's fun. Like, I love them to come back. We do complimentary steaming for brides for their gowns and their veils the week of their wedding. So when they come back, like, it's so great to see it full circle. Now they're like, not a year away. Now they're like, my wedding's in 2 days. Like, I can't wait to wear it. And then they send us photos. So we love to show people off on social media. You know, they send us photos of the wedding day. They send a girl made a TikTok the other day, and the vibe was, show us your experience shopping for your bridal gown. So she showed a picture of when she said yes to the dress, then when she picked it up, and then on her wedding day. And it was a video on TikTok, and it was freaking amazing. So yeah, I'm really lucky. I feel like I came a long way, and even though I had some struggles, it shapes me into who I am.
Yeah. So like, how else did you build the business? Like, did you use social media? Like, was it a lot of word of mouth? Like, a little bit of everything?
Kind of both. Trial and error. You know, the world is changing. So social media is huge for us. We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok. TikTok is a whole new job. I have all my young girls do that because I just don't know TikTok. But the girls love doing it. So we're on Instagram, Facebook. We have a website, which is actually under construction. We are going to launch a new website, I think next month. It's almost done. Instagram is huge for us. People love to see the dresses move on bodies. We have girls that are models. We have the staff. We have former customers that come in and do our TikToks. We ask them. They're all about it. We have prom girls that do it, brides. You know, Donna is one of our models for the mother line. Like, Donna breaks this internet when we put her up on Instagram, because women relate to different body types, right? So we want to showcase all different bodies. We're not just trying to showcase a supermodel body. We're trying to show curvy girls. Curvy girls look amazing in fitted dresses. So yeah, our social media is huge. I would say that's probably our biggest arena. We've done some print, but it's just not like it used to be. But we still do that because we still have Graham that, like, you know, wants to tell her daughter, she saw it in the paper over the holidays, you know, when everybody's reading the flyers for Black Friday sale kind of thing. But yeah, I would say social media is a huge arena for us. Word of mouth too. And then, you know, finding the right designers in store. We went through a motion there where we had to change what was in store, wasn't working for us. I had to find the right reps, because there's reps that just want to sell you dresses. And then there's reps that want to see you succeed. And then you know, build a brand together.
Yeah, so how do you do that? So like, where do you source this stuff from? How do you build these relationships? Like, where does this stuff come from?
So,
take me through it.
So they have bridal shows. So they have Chicago market and Atlanta market. Atlanta market is really geared towards prom. Chicago market is geared towards bridal, but they do bridal shows twice a year and events. So we go to those. So we travel. I've been to Florida. We've been to Mexico. We've been to Chicago. We've gone to Atlanta. And it's overwhelming. I mean, Atlanta is like, I don't know, 25 floors with 50 stores per floor. It's a lot. And I mean, I'm a small shop. I'm not Kleinfeld's where you can buy gobs and gobs and gobs of dresses. So trial and error, like, we brought some designers and that just didn't work for us. Then I brought other designers in that were a home run and I never expected them to be that way, but the girls just love the dresses. So it's still figuring out the market because everybody's different, right? So like what I like is not necessarily what you're going to like, and what, you have to kind of get an open mind about that. So I had to learn that, I can't just buy all the things that I like. I have to buy things that, Sally might like, or that Ruth might like, or that, Vanna White might like. So that's still a learning curve because there's stuff changing every single day. Like you think you bought the best prom gown and then like the one that you think is going to be the home run is not. It's the one that you would never think. And it's just always changing. But I found really amazing designers, and those designers want to see us successful. And my designers and the representatives that I have, like the salespeople that work for those lines, are all about building the brand, and they want to see us successful. So I feel like we're in a really good space right now. I have really great designers. They make beautiful gowns. Their attention to detail is amazing. And they make it fun when you go to buy. And they'll tell you like right out, like, you need this, you don't need that, but you should consider this. So that relationship and rapport is really, really big for me.
So you talked a little bit about like the customer experience. Mm-hmm. Like what is the customer experience like when someone comes to your shop?
Well, everybody's greeted with a smile
or Vanna White,
a golden little dog.
Who doesn't want to see a golden retriever?
Yeah, I mean, most people are cool with it, but yeah, so everybody comes in, we greet everybody when they walk in the door. We want to chat with them. Like, we want to know about your event. We want to know what colors are happening. Like, if you're a mom, what are bridesmaids wearing? What is the bride wearing? What are you looking for? Are you looking for sleeves? Are you looking for no sleeves? Are you looking for beads? No beads? So we really try to get a handle on what they're looking for, and then we let them pick their things out first. Then we will help pull things. We're not hard pressed car sales kind of deal. Like, that's just not our flow. I don't like that personally. So I don't want somebody pushing a dress on me. I want you to come in. I want you to take your coat off, put your bag down, look through the store, take a whole walk around. It's not that big. And then pull a couple things that interest you. And then once we see you in a couple of things, we can make suggestions of what we think will be even better. And sometimes the women don't like them, and sometimes they absolutely love them. But we see these dresses on every day, so we know what works and what doesn't work for body styles. I remember when I got started and I met with our seamstresses. We don't do seam work in-house, but we have a list of amazing seamstresses that we recommend to. And one of them told me, don't break your rules. Set your rules and don't break your rules.
What are the rules?
Well, if you put plans in place, like we don't do returns, refunds, or exchanges. She said, set your rules and don't bend them. You bend them once, you'll get burned. She was right.
I guess you got burned.
Well, because, I always have to do what I think is best in my heart, and, but you have to follow the rules. She also told me that I would stereotype brides when they came in. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, everybody's different. But you'll learn your inventory and you'll learn a woman's body. And I'm like, but everybody's body's different. But you will look at that person and they'll show you a picture of 5 different dresses. Some girls are spot on, but other girls are completely left field. I want plain, no beads, long sleeves, and they walk out in an off-the-shoulder glittery ball gown and are loving it. So we've learned the craft of really listening to our brides when they come in and what they tell us they want. And then we find that perfect dress for them. But sometimes you have to try on a couple other things that might not necessarily be on Pinterest, because Pinterest, is a gift and a curse. It's really good because there's great dresses and some of them are not current, right? Because Pinterest is a novel book encyclopedia of
lots of
photos.
Yeah.
Yes, from all different eras. So yeah, she gave me really good sound advice, and that kind of stuck with me. Even when I bought my bridal gown, the store is no longer open, but they were amazing. I remembered my experience. They were chill and cool and really just like there to help me find a dress. And I thought, oh my God, I want this fitted dress. I've worn fitted all my life. And I wasn't loving any. like at all. I went to 2 stores before I found the store that I bought my dress in, and I was trying on fitted everywhere and they just weren't doing it for me. And the gal said to me, well, have you ever tried on a fuller dress? And I was like, well, it's not really my thing. And she's like, but try one on. When else can you ever wear a full dress ever again in your life? I bought the full dress. Because it's true. Like, I mean, some gals, you know, they reference prom. We'll hear that a lot. Like, I've worn fitted all my life to prom. Well, they buy a ball gown. Or I've worn ball gowns all to prom. And then they buy a fitted dress. So yeah, it's like things like that. You just kind of learn people. And I love hearing people's stories. You know, I love hearing how people met. You know, I hear people, you know, they met from a friend. They met on online dating. They met at a random coffee shop because somebody had a coffee spilled on them and then they ended up getting married. But yeah, they tell you their story. You know, sometimes groups come in and like, you know, not that things came out of COVID positive because nothing did, but the amount of big groups coming in helped. Yes, you want everybody to see you and be a part of that, say yes to the dress. But there's always one in the group that makes things a little challenging. You know, not everybody sees your same vision. So we always tell brides, like when you're bringing groups, bring the people with you that see the same vision that you do. Because, you know, every woman's different. Everybody looks at a dress differently. Everybody knows what they want you to be in, but it might not be what you want to be in, right?
Right.
So yeah, you just kind of like learn people. But I like to hear everybody's story. So I don't know. The dress lounge has like lots of good stories inside of it, I guess.
Oh my God, I need to hear some of these stories. Are you allowed to share them or are they like too personal?
No, they're kind of private.
All right. I tried. I tried. Everyone listening was probably like, you better ask her.
Yeah, but it's kind of like, I don't know. When I had panache, we called it like social set, like on the porch. We would hang out on the porch. Like my friends would stop by, you know, whether we were hungover or from the night before, or the Saturday social. So we kind of like, you know, have that same vibe at the shop. It's just a different social. Like,
yeah, what happens at the dress lounge stays at the dress lounge.
Yes. But it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all right. So take me through, like, you know, you're 5 years into this business, and you know, did you have any challenges along the way, or the things that you didn't expect to happen, good or bad? Like, you know, what's it been like for you? I mean, so you said you're at a really good place right now, which is awesome. Mm-hmm. Anything like that?
So yeah, I mean, we had some staff changes. The gals that I referenced have been with me from the start. But of course we had other people that were working at the time. I've been lucky with all the people that I've had. They've all been really, really great. But you know, when somebody really good leaves and goes to explore the next chapter of their lives, it's hard to replace that person. So I'd say those are challenges, because then you have to teach someone, like, the dress lounge is a little bit of a monster on the inside. Like, it's not just selling pretty dresses. Like, you have to educate. You have to know about the dress itself, what colors it comes in, how it measures, how it fits, ordering times, things like that. So, you know, staff is always a thing, I think, with any business. The pandemic, like,
yeah, but that was a shocker.
52 heart attacks every day. And I'm a people person. So being stuck in my house, I couldn't do any more dog walks. The dogs didn't even want to do any more dog walks at that point in time.
But at least you had them.
Yeah, true. My good friend Krista, she has been an amazing human being in my life. Just supportive in all the ways since I've met her. I did her wedding. We became fast friends, her and her husband, Jeff. And we would walk every day, and we would be like strategically talking about, like, all right, well, what am I going to do? And how am I going to do this? And then, you know, people put up shirts that they were selling. So, you know, we bought shirts and we did little ad campaigns on social media with the staff. Like, we miss you very much.
I remember that.
Yeah. So, I mean, people relate to that. Vanna was in that photo.
Yeah.
The hardest thing I had to do was call girls that were going to have prom that year that had dresses on layaway and be like, hey, so your dress is on layaway and you're not going to wear it. So I'm going to give you a deal on it, a discount, and take it, get photos in it, do something with it. Like, yes, it's a pandemic, but I still want you to capture this moment, because when you have kids, they're going to be like, you lived through what? And what happened? So that was really hard for me. Like, aside from, you know, it was our busy season, like 3 of our busiest months of the year, and I was closed. 52 heart attacks. But calling those clients was even harder than being close. Yeah, it's a money thing. And yeah, I need to keep a business open. And yeah, I have staff that's not working now and I can't pay them. But calling those clients or the brides that have to reschedule their weddings, and you've waited a whole year or 2 years to wear that dress. And now, hey, you're not going to have anybody at your wedding. So it was hard, like mentally. And, it was grueling, not just because of owning a business. I mean, that part of it was just stressful enough. But then you have to have these conversations with people that you love and that you met all these clients and you had all these great celebrations. And now your dress is sitting in my store and it can't be worn yet. And you have to wait again. And some girls had to postpone 2 and 3 times. But they've had their weddings, and whether they were big or small, they were successful. So yeah, the pandemic was really, really hard. But we survived that. And my staff pulled through that. Like that team I keep talking about, I know, but
this is the theme of this. Yeah. It's great though. No, honestly, because in my personal opinion, I think your team is like one of your best assets.
They are. I would not be where I'm at today if I didn't have them. So yeah, they stuck by me. Like, and they work part-time. Like some of them have other careers and things, but they didn't leave me. They said like,
that says a lot about you.
I thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I love them. I would do anything for them. So I'm grateful for that. And so I would think those are probably the biggest hurdles. Staffing is always a thing. The pandemic was a thing. Just learning the designers, like I mentioned. I had a sales rep that just wanted to sell me gobs and gobs of dresses, and he only cared about his bottom line. He didn't care about me. So, we threw down and phased him out, and then he went and sold to my competitor, and that's always fun. Yeah. So, but you just learn, like if my competitor's watching me that closely, then I feel like we're doing something right, but no matter what, there's enough money to go around. There's enough great businesses in this area. Like I fully support all of the people that are doing the same thing that I'm doing. And I have great relationships with other stores around me. And I just think that's what makes us successful. Like I want people to start shopping small. I want them to be supporting the local businesses. I don't want you ordering all the things on Amazon. I am guilty. I do it, but we're not going to have a community and we're not going to have these businesses if people don't support them. Right.
Yeah.
So I think it's super, super important, especially now with the holidays coming around. All these people that just had the pandemic that have small businesses, like now more than ever, we really need to kick it into high gear and be supporting the local businesses to keep this kind of stuff around. Like, our mall is dwindling. Things are changing and a lot of things are going online, and that's okay. But it's a community that we still need to support.
Yeah. And I feel like, for your business, it's kind of hard to buy something like that online, right?
I would think so. They do sell bridesmaids online, and I know that does cater to like the groups that are big in size and they have friends all over the country. Like I get it. But there's still nothing like coming in store, trying it on, getting a measurement. Like we have girls all the time and they come in and they're like, I just bought a homecoming dress and I ordered it online and it looks nothing like it does on the photo. Support your local businesses. Like come in, try the dress on, get the measurements, like do your due diligence on it. I'm guilty. I buy things online too. But I just think that the path that we just came off of for the last, year has been a hard one for everybody, restaurants included. But I think if everybody just supports everybody, we'll get back on track again.
Yeah. How do you deal with like all the stresses of the wedding world? I would imagine that at some days you're laughing, but I imagine at some days it's probably pretty stressful, right? How do you, as the business owner and just a person, how do you deal with all those stresses? And
I just keep them calm. I still freelance wedding plan. I do it on my own. I selectively pick clients now because the shop is really busy. So I like to keep all my time dedicated there, but I do have some amazing clients that I told that I would help plan their weddings. Plus it keeps my creative gene going and, I love them and I want to see their weddings, flawless. But yeah, so people that come in stressed out, like we just try to calm them down, but everybody's more excited now. Some people that are still having carryover weddings, they're like, I just want to get it done. They're ready for the next part. They want to start the family. They want to go on the honeymoon. But I haven't seen anybody that's been like really in panic mode. Everybody seems to be really enjoying like life getting back to normal again. I'm a little concerned for this coming year, especially with the holidays and shipping. Like things are at sea. Things are on boats. Things are sitting in docks. Things are not moving. So we've been telling everybody, like, let's not wait to order that dress that you would typically wait for. Like, normal ordering time is a year out for brides and maybe 6 to 8 months for moms and bridesmaids. Don't wait. Like, let's get it ordered. Let's get it in. Like, if there's delays, it's better for us to have it on a delay and it come 4 months, 6 months prior versus it just barely making it. So that's been a big thing that we've been encouraging to clients that are coming in. Like, moms like to wait till last minute because they're planning all the things and helping the bride. You can't wait. Like, we're selling 2023 brides, like, and we should be in full force selling 2023 brides. So yeah, the world it's still changing. Like, we're not clear yet. But we're just proactively working towards that, piece for the brides. So that's kind of where we're at right now. We just want everybody to shop early, get it in, get it done, move on to the next thing.
So you mentioned earlier, and I said we'd come back to it, and I don't want to forget, but you celebrated 5 years, and now you said you closed on the building. Tell me about that.
Yeah, 52 more heart attacks. I hope I'm done for a little while now because that kind of lined up and I wasn't really planning on that. But my landlord was like, hey, so I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to do something else. And I want you to buy the building. And I was like, well, I don't know anything about buying a building. So I called my dad.
There we go. Follow the same path again.
Yeah, I called my parents because they own their business and then they eventually bought their building. And I was like, so what do you think about this? And, a little apprehensive, but because given the situation of, the pandemic, but they're like, do or die. Like, you do it now, no risk, no reward. And I'm like, well, I'm tired of taking risks and I've been doing pretty good. So I don't want to jinx myself. But yeah, they helped coach me through it. We talked about things. We talked about numbers, where I wanted to be, that kind of thing. We had a couple rounds of negotiations with my landlord, but I have to admit, he was amazing too. Like, I lucked out with him because he came to me first, which I was grateful for, and said like, hey, I want you to buy this. I have people interested, but I really want to offer it to you first. So I kind of was like, well, can I think about it a little bit to just put him off? Because it really wasn't in the plan, especially with coming through a pandemic. And he told me he'd work with me. And he did. So.
And you just closed on it, right? How long ago?
2 weeks.
2 weeks ago. That's crazy.
Yeah. So never in my life did I think I'd own real estate. Really wasn't in the plan. But here we are.
Yeah. In 5 short years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. No risk, no reward. Like, from where I was 8 years ago, I'd never in a million years think I'd be where I'm at today.
You don't think so?
No. Mm-mm. If you would have told me that I would have owned my own business and bought a building and had this team and, made a brand, I would have been like, no way. Because sometimes I think about those days where I was like crying and wondering how my life was ever going to get back to where I wanted it to be again. But it made me into someone. So it just kind of groomed me into where I'm at, and life lessons are really good. And sometimes the bad things have to happen. Like I said, divorce taught me I can overcome anything. So here we are.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Thanks.
High five. That's cool. Vanna's over here. She was giving me lots of kisses when you were telling that story.
She's like, listen, I'm listening to all the things.
Yep. She's doing good. She's sitting right next to me.
Yeah.
I'm petting her right now.
She's the best.
She is. Yeah. So what's she's jumping out. I think she wants to talk in the mic. So what's new for you guys? Anything?
So right now we have an amazing trunk show going on. So we brought in a new designer, Essence of Australia, who I love. We also have, what do we have coming up? We have our end of the year sale. So we do a closeout on discontinued bridal gowns for the end of the year. So that will be happening the entire month of December. The prices are stupid amazing. So yeah, the gowns will be marked around $500 to $1,000. So we close those out every year. We do that as our end of the year sale. And then hopefully we're going to roll into an amazing prom season, and these prom girls can kick it into high gear starting in January.
Awesome. Where can people find you online and physically?
Okay. So website is dressloungeboutique.com. Like I said, we're getting a facelift there. So we will have a new site rolling out hopefully by December 1st. You can also find us on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, Dress Lounge Boutique. Follow us. Give us some love. Check out Vanna. She's in a bunch of TikToks there too.
She's famous on there too, huh?
People come in looking for her before they even talk about a dress.
Star of the show.
She kind of is.
I love it.
Yeah.
I gotta say, she's a good dog.
She is. She's been well behaved, hang out.
Not one bark.
No, she hung out this whole time.
Yeah, people listening probably don't even believe there's a dog in the room right now.
There is a dog.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is great. I'm glad you came in. This was fun. I think Vanna she had a lot of treats.
She did.
She had a lot of treats.
Many. She's just laying, hanging out.
Yeah.
I can't wait for everybody to see her. So I hope everybody checks out your social page and sees her cute little face. And thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was great. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you for coming on and opening up and sharing a bit of your story. I mean, I know you've been through some challenging stuff, but I applaud you for doing everything you do.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It's really good. I love what I do.
Awesome. All right, Jenn Rushton and special guest Vanna White, the Dress Lounge on the Stacks podcast in the Blue Door Studio. Thanks for joining me. If you'd like to learn more about the On the Stacks podcast, be sure to search the hashtag On the Stacks on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and leave a review. We'll catch you next time on the Stacks.